Today I'm going to show you how to use deep planning. So deep planning is a slash command within the Cline extension, and like pretty much every other slash command, you type backslash, and that's how you can see the available commands. And deep planning, boom. So deep planning is slightly different than the regular plan mode, in that it gives you a deeper look at the code base, and it also creates a standalone implementation document for you. We are going to implement an MCP server for WorkOS. I have a link to some documentation to help provide additional context, but ultimately we're going to have to make sure that the implementation is complete. So kicking that off now, Cline is going and working through. We're going ahead and approve it looking at this documentation link. Now there are a couple of standalone prompts within Cline as well. If you go to Klein Bot /prompts, you can view some of these, but there's one in particular that is a helper for spinning up MCP servers. It basically guides Cline through the necessary process for that. We won't have to explicitly reference that here because, well, frankly, that's part of the benefit of the deep planning mode. Good. Cline now has enough context for the implementation, so it should be getting started on this implementation document for this purpose of creating a WorkOS MCP server. Right now it's gathering some context from some prior MCP servers that we've built, such as the one for Platform IO, amongst the other ones within the MCP marketplace. And of course, it's also searching the web for content related to creating this specific MCP server, given that WorkOS is an existing product that we do have an existing integration for. Right now it's just asking a clarifying architectural question, which is perfect. The new WorkOS MCP server should be a standalone repository, as that will make it, for one, compatible with our MCP marketplace. It makes it easy for folks to clone it and work with it themselves. And for one more follow-up question. So we're going to also be serving the actual public content and documentation from WorkOS for this purpose. As you can gather, this is a relatively complicated implementation, which isn't a problem, but this very much is the use case intended for deep planning mode. Perfect. We now have a plan created, and we've gathered pretty much all the necessary information to create a comprehensive implementation plan for the WorkOS MCP server. So the purpose of this is to provide an SDK for documentation, code examples, and change logs via the MCP protocol. We're also going to enable LLMs to query WorkOS reference material through a predictable interface. And we're also going to support progressive discovery workflow for WorkOS-related queries. Cool. So based off of this, we are ready to create the detailed implementation plan. I'm liking what I'm seeing, so I'm going to switch us to Act mode. And that will get started in creating this implementation doc. As we're going through and generating this file, I can go ahead and show you, or more like tell you at the moment, but the key technical decisions that are important for us here are that we're going to use Model Context Protocol /SDK for the server framework. We'll be using Zod for runtime type validation. We will be fetching content from public WorkOS URLs and caching content locally in our doc/organize for performance reasons. We'll also be parsing the RSS feed for changelog entries. So perfect. We now have our implementation plan completely done and created here. The wonderful part about this will be a static document that won't evolve based off of additional context that inflows into this particular instance of Cline. So we can always count on this to be consistent. The other part is that this serves as a portable piece of documentation. This can be committed, no problem. This could be passed on to an additional developer. It really depends on what you and or your organization's development strategy and styles are. Ultimately, this is a tool that is to be used as a tool, as appropriate. And that is how you use deep planning mode to create MCP servers.